Sex is such a wow, an urge. Uh, there's hormones, there's impulses, there's fantasies, there's all sorts of ideas, temptations, of all sorts. There's biological reasons, things that's been passed down from our ancestors. There's strongholds that's keeping people in sexual bondage. So much things, so much things that is not being addressed thoroughly. And when something's not being addressed thoroughly and consistently, it's highly likely not going to be dealt with. Just about impossible. And there's people who have strongholds, they have addictions, they have urges that they are ashamed. Let's talk about that first. The shame aspect of it. That wow, like what I can't tell anybody about this, or if I say this, it will ruin me, it will embarrass me, or I'm not expected. I shouldn't have this problem, this urge. I feel like and that's the thing with even people who are suicidal and depressed. Like they feel like I can't say it because that person's perception of me is not going to be the way it is. And I would tell anybody, you don't have to talk to someone that you know very well. You can talk to someone anonymously. There's so much avenues for that. Talk to somebody just go to a licensed therapist, a counselor. The people who do anonymous stuff on internet with somebody. Maybe they know the person is very professional, and that person will speak to you, you know, on the platform, and maybe you use a username anonymous. You put a picture on, and maybe you are a pastor, maybe you are an elder or a deacon or just somebody who's just involved in the church. You're a member, and you're highly respected. You're highly influential in that church, right? Although you may not have a quote unquote position, but there's shame. Yeah, it would be a shame to like, whoa, I'm a pastor, but yeah, I have these inclinations for kids and adolescents, and that person was not my spouse. This urge to want to do things and stuff came to my mind, and I heard a pastor the other day was like, he said, man, uh, if a view of what was in our brain throughout the service would be flashed across the screen, all of us would be embarrassed. Like all of us would be embarrassed, and that like that is so true. That is authentic. That is transparent. Like we have this people make it seem like Christians or people who anybody who claim to be a Christ follower will never have some unwholesome thought come into their mind. Like you can't thoughts are gonna come. Thought like why am I thinking that? Why am I even in, why did that came to my mind? I, I didn't ask for it to come there, but thoughts come. We're in a perverted culture. We see things on TV, on music, and we hear conversations, and that just have these thoughts about it somewhere in our brain. But of course, we have the decision to either follow through with that thought or not to follow through with that thought. Um, but yeah, it's like yeah, but anybody in church, whether you're a leader or not, should be held accountable. It should always be a system of checks and balances, similar to the government, like they say with the president. The president don't have like full ultimate authority. He has very high authority, but not the final authority. Church be the same thing. Like it's crazy because you got pastors and leaders that will go say to let's say a kid's house and the parents are there and it's a big house. They're all chilling out in the living room, maybe watching a movie or something. I don't know, or just talking, hanging out. Maybe the backyard patio and maybe everybody outside in the backyard doing like a barbecue or something. And the pastor goes inside the house and no one's inside the house. Everybody's outside the house. And here comes this girl or a little boy into the house. And everybody's outside. And the pastor said, "Oh, let me show you something." And then person he go upstairs with the kid, and one thing leads to the next. Whatever he does, grope, touch, whatever. Um, and the kid doesn't. tell the parent. Maybe that spiritual leader says not to tell them, and maybe they'll do this and there for like a couple of minutes. You know, it's a big house, and no one thought of it. No one thought anything could happen in the house because, no man, that thought would not come to the mind that this spiritual leader, respected person, was touching up my child. No one would. No one, a lot of people would not think that, or anybody, because anybody outside the church can do it too, right? But yeah, and you got, you know, these leaders, that pastor and leaders who have these very high positions in the church, are highly respected, and maybe it's an older, you know, a leader in his 50s, 60s, and he's just, you know, even younger than that, 40s, 50s, right? He's just, you know, so cool to be around, awesome, amazing, and then, you know, these parents are letting their teenagers, oh, you can, oh, they're, the pastor is having some event at his house, some get together or some party or some Bible study. Oh, go over there, okay. And the parent doesn't go over there. The parent stays home and or goes to work. You know, send my child off to this respected leader's house, and you know, and the same thing happens in that, you know, leader's house. Maybe the group of people or in a whole other area outside or a whole area of the house, and then some way somehow the leader goes with the kid. Somehow they little by little go off somewhere else, and no one knew, no one found out. Nobody wasn't even thinking about that, right? But they went downstairs to the basement real quick, and something happened. Johnny, I need help downstairs with the basement. I need help real quick with something. Can you help find me to the basement? Down there for 10 minutes. Something went down there. They went back upstairs, and everybody said, "Oh, did y'all take care of that thing? Oh yeah, we took care of that thing. Oh, and the kid is just there. Yeah, we took care of it, and you know, maybe the leader said, "Hey, don't tell nobody. Just don't don't act normal." Whatever he told the kid, right? Or maybe people didn't even ask what happened in the basement. They just continue carrying on what they're carrying on with, right? No one just, you know, no one thinking much about it. People just focus on whatever they're doing, and no one, typically people not thinking, oh, there's some molestation going on right now, you know, and we don't see it, like out of sight, out of mind. Of course, you don't see it, you don't hear it. Um, you know, you're probably not gonna think that that highly respected person not gonna do that, so it don't come to your mind. But the fact is, it happens. Um, so yeah, it's something that people have to deal with. I mean, I wish people would deal with their sexual issues individually on their own, but many don't, and it affects them. You know, you got people that, like, recently I know it was Robert Morris, big time pastor, that got caught in a whole bunch of sexual charges or child abuse, and you know, many of you would say, persecute him and want him dead or lock him up, and yeah, he should be penalized, he should, but pray for him. We're called to love our enemies, for those who are born again Christians. We're called to pray for those, even our enemies. So pray for him. He did what he did was wrong. It was wicked. It was evil. Pray for him, like we should pray for anybody who's done wrong, or is doing wrong. Just like how if we were in that situation, a crazy predicament, we wouldn't want help, comfort, and not just rebukes. Yeah, rebuke. This should be a place for rebuke, and a place for direction and correction and direction. Ooh, yeah. But yeah, let's keep talking about it. Let's talk about sex in healthy ways with our churches and our families. Let's not just gloss it over. Let's talk about sex in a healthy way. Many churches don't talk about sex deeply. They just briefly mention about some sexual sins not to do, and then move on. But a very few churches really go in depth about dynamics of healthy sex and unhealthy sexuality. So address it, don't ignore it, and let's do better, because it's everywhere, in the church and even outside the church, daycares, schools, all over. All right, y'all. Love you. Be blessed and at peace.